the legendary horseshoe. Number 1 versus number 3. Here we go. Baxter brings it out of the end zone. Skips forward. And a very good return as he's downed at the 30-yard line. And that brings on Arch Manning for the first time. Joel, this kid has the potential to be great.
He really does. And he got those 2 starts last year. They were both in Austin. And now he gets his chance on the road. Has not thrown a pass in college, on the road in his career. And listen to this place get wild.
First down and 10 of the 29. Trey Wisner lines up as the deep man in the I formation. Manning, such a hybrid player. Big, strong, powerful arm. And he's got the wheels of his mother, Ellen. Athlete, volleyball champion, his mom.
No idea what's going on. There's a bunch of communication issues right now. The officials I think that they're giving an invalid signal here. Okay, so the up back right there in front of the returner, when you put your arms out like that, it's kind of a signal to the kickoff team that you're going to give up down the ball, and so this ball's coming back to the 25.
All right, first down and 10 of the 25, first snap. And Manning rolls out of the pocket, throws across his body, and he skips that one to DeAndre Moore Jr. Incomplete. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. We start with the Texas offense.
Have to rebuild this offensive line. Really only one starter back, but several of these guys played a lot of football. The guy that is their anchor, their best player, their right guard, DJ Campbell. On the outside, watch out for Ryan Wingo. Very fast, elite speed.
Second down and 10 of the 25. This time, they'll run it straight ahead. And it's Wisner, gain 6 defensively for the Buckeyes.
All new starters up front. Everybody is new for the Buckeyes. Kenyatta Jackson, a guy they're relying on for pressure. Sonny Styles, their captain. He's got number 0 now. That big block O, he's been relied on as the captain. And Caleb Downs, the best player, I think the best defender in college football in the back end.
Buckeyes with a chance to get off the field on 3rd and 4. Manning goes through his progressions underneath. It's caught, but short of the first down from this spot. Igbeneusen with the tackle.
And the offense is staying on the field right here. They're going to go for this.
So they'll go for it.
Oh, I don't know. My goodness.
It might be Ohio State feels like they've denied them.
Getting a first down signal from that far side officials. Today officials, Gus, are from the SEC. This is an SEC crew. It'll be an SEC replay booth, and they will give them that first down. Okay.
So a first down for Texas, opening drive from the 35. C.J. Baxter. They give it to him. He skims through the hole. Nice move as he cuts it back up, picks up a first down, getting to midfield. Lorenzo Styles Jr. with the tackle. That's a gain of 14, and they're so happy that this young man is back in the lineup.
Tore up his knee in camp last year after having a marvelous true freshman year the year prior, and really leaned in, was a coach on the field, and he feels like he's a better player. He's explosive. They have been waiting to see him back on the field, and that's a great carry here early in this game.
First down, Texas at the 49. Empty backfield for Manning. Remember, he's got incredible wheels. Manning sets, guns over the middle, incomplete. Flag on the play, however.
False start, number 1 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
You know, Gus, I think what's interesting is watching this offense. This is a very different offense than Quinn Ewers. There you see the movement early. Quinn Ewers had a great quick release, kind of like Tua Tagovailoa. So there were a lot of run-pass option plays with the throws going over the middle of the field. This is a more traditional offense, moving the pocket for the quarterback, drop-back pass, setting Manning back in the pocket, letting him control the game. Already a difference from what we saw from Texas a year ago.
So that'll make it first down and 15 at the 44. Baxter again straight ahead with the crease, but he's gobbled up quickly. Edric Houston, who they're very high on, he's long, quick, former defensive end, makes a tackle for a 2-yard gain.
And the new defensive coordinator here at Ohio State. Yep, that's Matt Patricia coming back to the college ranks. It's been 20 years since he's coached in college. He's been in the National Football League so many years with the New England Patriots, winning Super Bowls there with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. He's with the Eagles, the head coach of the Lions, and now the coordinator here for the Buckeyes, replacing Jim Knowles.
Second down and 13 at the 46. Again, Baxter churning those legs. That knee, they say, is good. He gains 5 this time.
Big
McClain with the tackle.
Yeah, big third down here, partner, right? Early in this game, we already saw Texas in their own territory go for that fourth down, get it by barely half a ball length as Arch was on the QB sneak. And now at 3rd and 8, we see if Ohio State can provide any pressure. That was a hallmark of their defense a year ago with all those defensive linemen that ended up in the National Football League. We'll see if they can get to Arch Manning here.
3rd down and 8 at the 49. Manning out of the gun. High snap, handle, sprints out of the pocket, trying to square his shoulders, dumps it, not enough for the first down. As C.J. Baxter makes the catch, and that'll bring up 4th down and short.
Good rally up here, rally from the defender. You see right there the defender, that's the corner Jermaine Matthews, who played a lot of football for them last year. Maybe wasn't a starter, but played a ton of snaps for them, and he comes up and he squeezes on that route, makes it a 4th and short, and they'll again keep the offense on the field here, going for it on 4th down.
Steve Sarkisian, mastermind offensively. 4th down and 2. Baxter, and he won't get it. Texas coming up short. The Ohio State defense turns him away. Ohio State stout up the middle. Coming up, we'll watch the best player in college football. Jeremiah Smith takes the field. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, home and auto coverage you can count on. And by AT&T Business, connecting changes everything. Time for today's game flow, sponsored by Progressive. Ohio Stadium, also known as the Shoe here in Columbus. The first game played here was in 1922. This is the 104th year of football here at Ohio State. Julian Sayin makes his debut as a starter for the Buckeyes.
I think what's lost in the lead up is that Julian Sayin was also a #1 quarterback in his recruiting class the year after Arch Manning, and he waited last year behind Will Howard, and now Julian Sayin has the keys to the car here for the Buckeyes.
First down and 10 at the 42. They say Sayin can really spin the football, folks, and they will hand it off. C.J. Donaldson, the West Virginia transfer, Gilbo with the tackle.
Yep. Much like Texas, rebuilt up front, Gus, the offensive line, and they really love what Austin Sareveld has done in the offseason. And then on the outside, this is as talented a group of skill position players as you'll find. And Jeremiah Smith is a guy that has to touch the ball early and often. He only had 1 catch for 3 yards in their last matchup against Texas in the semifinal a year ago. That has to change. If they double cover him, they'll watch out for Carnell Tate.
Second down and 8 at the 44. Running it again, Donaldson. Power back. He's got great size. 232. Stopped by Burke.
This defense, they got a bunch of transfers, 5 of them at defensive tackle. They're going to rotate all of them, but they've got stars at every level. Colin Simmons at edge, Anthony Hill at linebacker, and Michael Taff, all of them preseason All-Americans. This secondary is terrific, but I'm watching Colin Simmons, this defensive end. He was a specialty downs pass rusher a year ago. Now we'll see what he does on every down, in particular against the run. Ohio State 2 straight runs to start the game.
3rd down and 1 at the 49. Straight ahead, and the Buckeyes won't get it. How about this? Both defenses stout play early, and that'll bring up 4th down and 1.
And stout play from the question mark of each of these defenses, which is the interior of their defensive line, and they do a great job there getting inside of the offensive line, pushing that line back, and now Ohio State will stay on the field. Gus, they'll go for it on 4th down.
From the 49. Donaldson right next to Sayin. Play fake. Sayin. He'll throw it. Underneath. Caught. Oh, incomplete. On the sideline, Max Clare had it. Just couldn't hold on. And the Buckeyes turn it over on downs at midfield.
What an aggressive play call here from Ohio State. Giving Sayin the opportunity to throw it on 4th down, and he had him. He had his guy, the tight end transfer to Purdue, Max Clare, who just couldn't haul it in. And Texas turns them away. Their offense back on the field when we come back. No score from the shoe. Both teams going for it on 4th down here in the first quarter and coming up short, but Ohio State had an opportunity. This was the 4th down call, a play action pass. Watch Jeremiah Smith. He's open. That ball needs to go from Julian Sayin to Jeremiah Smith. You can see the frustration. And Ryan Day on the sideline telling his young quarterback, hey, man, when we dial it up to number 4, that ball has got to go in his direction.
1st down and 10 from the 49 for Texas. Wisner up the middle. And he'll pick up a few. 4-yard gain. Caden Curry with the tackle.
Don't you get the sense here that both of these play callers, both of these offensive lines, testing these new defensive lines of each opponent? Texas running it straight at the Buckeyes.
2nd and 6 at the 47. Another handoff. Wisner jitterbugging. Tried to find a crease, and he'll be tackled at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Arvell Reese, the junior from Cleveland. They love his aggressiveness.
They really do, and this is a guy that is very physical. I think as a tandem, Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese might be the best tandem linebacker crew in the country. And then, of course, Downs behind them at safety. Another big 3rd down here. Again, let's watch for the pressure. They were so good at defensive end a year ago. How are these ends rushing for the Buckeyes?
3rd down and 6 at the 47-yard line. And some movement on the Texas offensive line. That's the right tackle, Brandon Baker.
73 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Young player getting his first real action. He's a star in the making, though, folks. This guy will be an early round draft pick in the coming years. But Brandon Baker, just a true sophomore. He's 6'4". He's 308 pounds, trying to deal with this crowd noise.
4 new starters on the Texas offensive line. 3rd down and 11 at the 48. Manning's going to have to let this one fly. Manning off his back foot, checks it down to the sideline. Ohio State prepared. Baxter wrestled down inside Ohio State territory. A 5-yard gain. Kenyatta Jackson Jr. stops him, and that'll bring on the punt team.
Really good coverage deep. Manning wanted to go deep down the left side, but the coverage was there, and he had to just dump it down to the back out of the backfield. And good pursuit from that Ohio State defense to get up there, make the tackle, and force the kick.
Jack Bouwmeester, the Australian, will send it away, standing at his own 39. First punt of the game for either team. And it's fair caught at the 7. Jeremiah Smith back on the field. You get the feeling they're going to throw it to him this time. Back to the shoe after this. Play the Fox Super 6 College Football Challenge. Download the Fox Sports app right now and enter for free for a shot to win 5,000 big ones and cash prizes. See the Fox Sports app for details. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Jenny Tabb, Tom Rinaldi with you. Julian Sayin missed Jeremiah Smith that last time out. Got a feeling they're really going to go to him now. Second offensive possession for the Buckeyes. First down and 10 at their own 8. And they'll hand it off. James Peoples this time. Sophomore from San Antonio, Texas. Stopped by Burke.
Yeah, both of these offenses playing a bit conservative here, testing out the defensive lines. And this was to be anticipated here with young quarterbacks making starts, trying to rebuild offensive lines and defensive lines early in the season. You get the sense that these two defenses will both be elite, Gus. And right now it's every team in the country, really. The defenses are ahead of the offenses early in the year, and we're seeing that play out here in the first quarter.
After a gain of 1, second down and 9 from the 9. Sayin out wide. Smith breaks a tackle, makes a few people miss, and he'll get up the field for a gain of 6.
And now a big third down on the Ohio State side. And just like you were mentioning before the series, they weren't going to go 2 series without letting Ford touch the football. Design screen on the outside, trying to make it a more manageable third down, which he's able to do here at 3rd and 3, Gus.
Third and 3 from the 15. Donaldson in the backfield. Now motions out. Empty for Sayin. Julian Sayin with time underneath. Throws a strike. First down. Ohio State. Max Clare, the Purdue transfer. A gain of 11.
Makes up for that drop on that first series on 4th down. So he's going to come here as Smith's trying to basically clear out. And look at the attention they're paying Smith. Colin Simmons, the great pass rushing defensive end, immediately jumps out of that line of scrimmage to bump Smith, who was lined up as the number 2 wide receiver in the slot. And they were able to get to the tight end, Clare, for the first down.
51 catches for close to 700 yards and 4 touchdowns at Purdue last year. Sayin, quick strike, and Smith takes his eyes off of it for a second, drops the football.
Nerves for everybody here on the opening week. This is a ball that you don't normally see Smith drop. In fact, we went and watched him practice. First thing we saw when we walked into the building, they chucked it downfield to him, and he just reached out and grabbed it one-handed. And Julian Sayin, he's like, whoa, I haven't seen that much in practice.
Makes a second down and 10 from the 26. Peoples this time. Oh, he's ambushed behind the line of scrimmage. They wrapped him up quickly. Gang tackling Lafau. First man to him. That's a loss of 1.
Boy, I tell you, Lafau was in there quickly. Good speed from that linebacker position. He doesn't get a lot of the credit in that linebacker core because of Anthony Hill, who's a preseason All-American, but Lafau playing really well early in this game against the run. Good speed there, triggering to get a tackle for loss.
Junior from Hawaii. 3rd down and 11 at the 25. Donaldson back in the game at running back. Sayin under pressure. Got it away, and another drop by the Buckeyes. Another drop by Jeremiah Smith. And that brings up 4th down and 11. Ohio State will have to send it away.
And how about the speed here from Simmons? They're going to leave him unblocked on the screen, and watch how quickly he's in the face of the young quarterback. Sayin barely gets this ball away, hits the turf after he releases it, and then on the outside, again, the uncharacteristic second drop of the game of the series for Jeremiah Smith, and they'll punt it away.
Ryan Niblett, the deep man. Joe McGuire takes a step, boots it, and the ball takes an Ohio State bounce and dies around the 25. 50-yard punt. Here comes Arch. He's got legs as well as a cannon. Back on the field after this. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Pacific Life, building confident futures for nearly 160 years. All aboard! It's time to get on the hype train. We've got the biggest Week 1 college football game of all time, featuring the two best players in college football, and they're both Buckeyes. But the Heisman favorite is a Longhorn, and this is his first season as the starting quarterback, Arch Manning. First down and 10 at the 25 for Texas. Baxter, lone setback, play fake. Manning sets on his back foot, all day to throw. Over the middle, a little high, and incomplete. Injuries, the intended receiver, the tight end.
Injuries is a transfer from Cal. Really complete player. A guy that was very good for Cal in his career there for the Bears. 91 catches, over 1,000 yards. So they're hoping that he can come in and solidify that tight end group. Both of these teams, they have targeted transfers. They don't rebuild in the transfer portal, but where they need someone to come in and fix a hole, they go out and try to get a good player.
Second down and 10. Texas staying on the ground as Baxter is brought down by Bo Atkinson. A 2-yard gain.
Well, I'm so impressed with both of these rebuilt defensive lines that we see for Texas and for Ohio State. They've been able to hold up against the run. Granted, we're still in the first quarter. So as an offensive coach would say, well, we're just going to keep grinding away and handing the football off and see where we're at in the fourth.
Big third down coming up now for Texas. They need 8 at the 27. Manning steps up in the pocket, makes a move, and he'll be tackled at the line of scrimmage. Ohio State squeezing him. Atkinson there to finish off the play.
Well, I just talked about those targeted transfers, and now you're going to get that pressure from a guy that came in the transfer portal, Bo Atkinson from North Carolina. Good pressure right there from 14, and he's able to just flush Manning from the pocket, who's got to hold on to that football as he gets hit from both sides. And how about Matt Patricia in his first quarter as the Buckeyes defensive coordinator? Very happy with what he's seeing from those red jerseys out on the field.
Now Jeremiah Smith lines up as a return man for Ohio State. He's at the 25. Bo Meester sends it away. Smith with the fair catch at the 20. A 53-yard punt. Tonight on Baseball Night in America, Cal Raleigh, who may have one of the greatest nicknames of all time, the Big Dumper. I think that's what they call him. And the Mariners take on the Guardians of the Tigers. My Tigers continue their fight for the AL Central against the Royals or Orioles Giants. Check your local listings for the game in your area tonight at 7 Eastern on Fox.
Wait, why'd you look over here? You looked at me. The Big Dumper. That was so good, man. That was so good.
I don't know how he got that one, but hey, we're going to leave that one alone.
When you're a power-hitting catcher, maybe that's it.
Maybe
that's what we'll go with, right?
He's squatting a lot.
Oh, man.
First down and 10 at the 20. There's Smith. Lines up at receiver on the near side. They hand it off to Peoples. And it's a gain of 3. Let's go downstairs to the AAG.
Well, Gus, how about this? First thing, Jeremiah Smith, when he came off the field, he changed out his gloves. Those were not working. Keep in mind, Jeremiah Smith told me at practice earlier this week, this game against Texas has been one he's been thinking about. The way they took him out of the game last year, he said, I've been watching a lot of film. I feel confident, and trust me, it's been circled on my calendar for a long time.
All right, Jenny, thank you. 2nd and 7 at the 23-yard line. Sand over the middle. Nice completion. Jeremiah Smith breaks a tackle, and he'll pick up 16.
Well, this is a great tell for Ohio State. When they have Smith right, well, there's a motion man. That's going to be clear, but Smith is just inside of him. When that motion man goes outside, what it does is it changes the coverage, and now a linebacker or safety has to cover Smith. So when they motion from inside the formation, outside of Jeremiah Smith, it becomes tougher to defend him, and they can target him. And then those gloves, Gus, they seem to be working just fine, the new ones that Jenny told us about.
Whatever makes him feel better. How about that? Here's a handoff. And that 16-yard completion, longest gain of the day.
Well, and now start to think about these formations and play calls. They've got a new play caller here at Ohio State. Chip Kelly, gone to the National Football League, called the plays a year ago. That's Brian Hartline. Has been here for a long time. Great recruiter and great wide receiver coach. And he steps into the seat to call the plays for Ryan Day.
Longtime NFL player as well as a wide receiver. 2nd and 5 at the 44. 4 seconds on the play clock. And that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. And a very interesting quarter, dominated by defenses. No score after 1. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Connecting changes everything. The stars of the national championship team returned today. They got the week off. Next week, the NFL will start as they unveiled JT Tuimoloau, Travion Henderson with New England, 2nd-round pick. Will Howard made the Steelers. So much support here with this program.
How about the draft that they had? 7 players in the first 45 picks.
4 first-round picks, 14 players overall selected in the NFL draft from Ohio State. 2nd and 5 at the 44. Here's the handoff. Peoples makes people miss, picks up a first down. Some hard running by James Peoples.
You know, Texas was just barely outmatched. They had 12 players drafted. And Gus, I was talking to Sark on the field before the game, and we were talking about that, and he said, you know what's the most amazing part is that we both reload and we're 1-3 in the country after all of those players are going to go play on Sundays. And he's exactly right. What Sark has done at Texas, what Ryan Day has done at Ohio State, it's remarkable. Building these programs into the preeminent programs, not only in their conferences, but really in the country as well.
First down and 10 at midfield. Sayin with time. Near side. Ball caught. And this time, it's Christian, with the reception.
You know, Sayin's been accurate, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
Even the incompletions, they've all been drops. 2 by Smith, 1 from Claire on 4th down. So the young quarterback, number 10, Julian Sayin, again, the overlooked quarterback in this game. Number 1 recruit the year after Arch Manning at the quarterback position. He's come in and he has played well so far. They've run the ball. They've tried to establish themselves on the ground, and here they are across the 50 in a nothing game.
Sayin from Carlsbad, California. That's near San Diego. Play action fake. Sets up deep. Slings it. Incomplete. Jeremiah Smith the target. But that one broken up at the last minute.
I think that was 29, Grayson Littleton. How about this guy? He's just a true freshman. He's running across the field with number 4. Ohio State trying to say he got there a little bit early. Maybe, I don't know. That's a tough one to call right there. But this Littleton, I tell you, he's going to be a really good player. This coaching staff very excited about number 29, and even to the point where they're fine having him over the top of number 4, Jeremiah Smith, covering him across the field.
Littleton from Tampa, Florida. 3rd down and 4. True freshman at the 44. Sayin lobs it up top. Incomplete, over the shoulder grab. Littleton in coverage. Brandon Ennis the target. And Hero Kanu, the former Buckeye for Texas, was pressuring Julian Sayin.
Well, we're starting to see why the coaches love number 29, right? You start making plays like that. There is a flag on the field, and it is in the backfield.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense.
Oh, wow.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
I did see Gus Philip Daniels, number 70. His helmet popped off, and he started jogging off to the sideline. But if it comes off of your head because of a penalty, then you can stay in the game. So not only does Daniels stay in the game, but they get the free first down after those 2 nice plays from Littleton. Hand up in the face from Colin Simmons. That's a huge penalty, and it gives the Buckeyes a bit of new life on this series.
So a first down from the Texas 29. for Ohio State. C.J. Donaldson, the pistol back. They give it to him, and he's lucky to get across the line of scrimmage. A gain of 1.
I'll tell you, they are really trying to run this football between the tackles, aren't they?
Well, Mark Ingram said that the team that wins the running game is going to win this game. And Coach Meyer during the pregame show also said, you don't want your quarterbacks in the first or even in the second quarter throwing that ball over the middle, because if it's high, it could be a pick and a turnover.
That's right. He's exactly right. Tips and overthrows wind up as turnovers.
2nd and 9 at the 28. Sayin scrambles, and he will just dump it out of play. A flag, though, thrown. Jeremiah Smith looking at the official, and this will go against Texas.
Holding on the defense, number 4. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
It's our referee, David Smith, SEC official. There's the hold right there as Smith was trying to break out as Sayin left the pocket. A bit of a hold right there from Malik Muhammad. It was on 5. They announced 4, Jelani McDonald, but that was Malik Muhammad, number 5. And that's the 6th time they've tried to throw it at Jeremiah Smith. They're forcing the ball his way, rightly so, but it's also now the 2nd penalty on this series. And the Buckeyes again with another first down, Gus.
Buckeyes in the red zone. 1st and 10 of the 19.
Official stopped the play near side here.
The spot should be the 28-yard line, not the 29. 28-yard line.
Does he mean the 18? 28 is 10 yards away.
It's the 18.
Assume he
yes,
means
it's the 18.
All right,
First
game.
the first day
That's
for
right.
everybody.
That's exactly right. That's right. Oh, man.
Steve Sarkisian saw him coming in, look clean as usual. His wife, L'Oreal, put him together like she did last year at Michigan. First down at the 18. Carnell Tate in motion. We haven't called his name yet. He lines up in the slot. He's a spectacular talent. Here's a handoff. Donaldson pushes the pile forward. And Ohio State churning, picking up yards. That's 7 the hard way.
And they really were excited about getting C.J. Donaldson in the transfer portal. Comes in from West Virginia, and he came in actually, Gus, about 240 pounds. He walked in, and Mick Moriarty, their strength coach, said, yep, not for long. And now he's down to 225, a little bit slimmer and more explosive, but he still retained that power that he was known for. And you're seeing some of that power on these interior runs. Donaldson, only Power 4 player with 11+ touchdowns in each of his last 2 seasons. That was for the Mountaineers, now here for the Buckeyes.
2,000 yards over 3 seasons and scored 30 rushing touchdowns. Again, a first down for Donaldson. C.J. Donaldson, big guy, powerful, 5-yard run.
Well, you keep seeing this motion being put into play. And so you got motion, and then you got the tight end. So Carnell Tate motions across. Now the tight end is coming across. They're trying to put more hats, more helmets, more players at the point of attack where they want the football to attack the defense. And then Donaldson, nice patient run, and then physical at the end, leaning forward for those extra few yards.
10th play of the drive coming up, which started at the 20-yard line for Ohio State. Here's the handoff. Peoples trying to find a seam, and they'll back him up after he crosses the line of scrimmage. Michael Taft there, gain of 2.
You know, I thought that last year's running backs for Ohio State, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, both 2nd-round draft picks. I thought this was where, listen, they were really good in a lot of different areas, but where they excelled is here in the low red zone. Low red zone meaning inside the 10-yard line. Gus, they had a knack, you remember last year, of getting small and powerful and finding that goal line. We'll see if these new backs for the Buckeyes can do the same.
2nd down and goal from the 4. And they go straight ahead again for Donaldson. Trying to use that big body, and he'll pick up a couple. Talk about those running backs. Travion Henderson drafted in the second round by New England. Quinson Judkins in the second round by the Browns. So he's over there with your quarterback, Shedeur Sanders.
You start thinking ahead here. It's 3rd and goal. What's Ryan Day's decision here? He's looking at his call sheet on the sideline. Are they thinking about a 4th down play call? Will they go for it? Would they settle for a field goal? You got to wonder what's going on. It looks like they might want to try to call a timeout, and they're going to get that done. They're going to call timeout here from the sideline.
Extra offensive lineman in the game for Ohio State. So here's a timeout. 9:41 to play, second quarter, no score. But the world famous Buckeyes knocking on the door. No score, 9:41 to go here in the second. You surprised that the defense, both defenses have been the story in this game so far with all these weapons for both teams on offense?
No, I'm really not, and only because, you know, last year these were 2 of the 3 best defenses in all of college football. And they returned a lot of talented players on every level of their defense, in particular on this Texas side. In a lot of cases, I was telling people before the year, I thought Texas could have the best defense in the country this year. And they've certainly made it difficult on Ohio State. A couple of penalties on Texas on this series. This SEC officiating crew throwing those flags, and they've helped out the Buckeyes on this series getting down here.
3rd down and goal at the 2. Donaldson. Texas getting pressure. Looks like it was Cole Brevard getting inside the backfield.
Yeah, this interior defensive line, a couple of times they have stood up and they have done a great job. This was a decision made during that timeout. 2 plays that they were thinking they want 7. They're going to go for it again on 4th down. It's the second time they've done it. Last year they converted several 4th downs. In fact, the most aggressive they had been his whole career, and here they go for it again.
4th down and goal at the 1. And they'll hand it off. Donaldson! Touchdown, Bucks! C.J. Donaldson.
They're going to follow this left side of the line. Right here, Luke Montgomery and Austin Severeld. And this double team gets movement, and that movement is what allows Donaldson to just lean over that left side of the line and get into the end zone for a touchdown.
So Ohio State strikes first. Jayden Fielding in for the extra point, and it's good. Buckeyes go on a 13-play drive, covering 80 yards. They eat up 8 minutes to take a 7-0 lead at home against the #1 team in the nation. Big News Saturday is sponsored by Allstate. You're in good hands.
Pacific Life Game Summary sponsored by Pacific Life, building confident futures for nearly 160 years. Been a good one so far, dominated by defense. Buckeyes finally getting on the board. Nice offensive series, helped out by a couple of penalties on Texas. And they've got to feel good about how their young quarterback, Julian Sayin, has played so far. Arch Manning only 3 of 5 for 13 yards. C.J. Baxter back on the field, finally healthy, 5 carries for 24. They've targeted Smith now 6 times. He's got 2 catches for 22 yards, and the Buckeyes with that 7-0 lead.
Wisner back deep. And this one will go out of the back of the end zone. Now, Fox College Football Saturday continues next as South Dakota takes on number 22 Iowa State, who beat Kansas State in their first game this season in Ireland. Then later tonight, Utah battles UCLA at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, all on Fox. So for Texas, their first 3 drives, loss on downs, punt, and punt. Steve Sarkisian trying to find out what his team needs to do to start moving the football against this Buckeye defense. First down and 10 at the 25. Empty backfield for Manning. He runs it. Gets outside, shows a burst, and picks up 7, maybe 8 yards on the play. It's almost unfair in a way, Joel, that in his first start, he has to go against not only a former head coach in the NFL, a defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick, who's won 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I tell you, it's quite the cat and mouse game. And the good thing for Arch is that he's got a great play caller and play designer in Steve Sarkisian right there. He designs a formation that gets his quarterback some free running room along that right side.
Second down and 1 at the 34. And Texas will pick up the first down. And that was Wisner. Let's go downstairs to Tom Rinaldi.
Gus, a long wait during that Buckeye scoring drive, and you're not going to see any emotion or sense of panic at all from Arch Manning. Comes over, same routine each time. Sits and talks to his quarterback coach, A.J. Milwee, the backup, Matt Caldwell. Doesn't show a lot of emotion, studies the tablet, gets up and gets ready to go. Defensively, some real frustration from Travis Shaw, challenging his people on the front line defensively.
Quick strike, Manning, incomplete. Thank you, Tom. That one underthrown. DeAndre Moore Jr., the intended receiver.
You know, when Texas scuffles a little bit offensively and when they have a hard time getting going, you go back and Steve Sark has been this way ever since he was calling plays all the way back to Washington and USC. But when his offense needs a spark, generally he does it through formation or movement and trying to get a misdirection type of play going. I wonder if they'll try one of those type of plays here in the next few snaps.
We haven't mentioned Wingo's name. Here's the strike on the outside, and it's Ryan Wingo. Finally gets him into the act. McClain there to usher him out of bounds.
Great call, partner. He's got the elite speed on the outside, and that's something that Sark wants to attack with, is getting his playmakers the ball in space and an opportunity to work against that defense, and he's finally able to get the ball to Ryan Wingo.
Wingo changed his number from 5 to 1 this season. Third down and 3 at the 44. Can Texas continue to move the chains? Manning bounces out of the pocket. Burst of speed, looking for the first down. Oh, he's chopped down by Styles right before he gets to the marker. Let's see if he got it. And it's a first down.
I tell you what, he did a nice job keeping that ball in that right arm because it started coming away from his body. He's trying to get the sticks right there at the line to gain. And how about the hit right there from Lorenzo Styles, who comes in and kind of upends him. And they're able to get the line to gain, and it's a first down.
Arvell Reese with pressure. First down at the 47 for Texas. Down 7-0. Play fake. Manning, he's going to uncork it. Throws it deep. Double coverage, incomplete. Wingo the target. McClain there, as well as Matthews for Ohio State.
I'll tell you, this is really good coverage because you've got elite speed right here from Ryan Wingo, and they're able to get the safety to run with him. That's Jalen McClain. And then that opposite corner, Jermaine Matthews, he just took off from his position and went back deep into the field and ran underneath the route. That's number 7 right there. Excellent coverage for the Bucs.
Second down and 10 at the 47. 6:32 remaining in the second quarter. And they'll hand it off. Baxter, not a lot, if any. Kenyatta Jackson jumping on top. No gain.
Boy, you see that red flash in the backfield. Almost made the tackle in the backfield. That was number 2, Caleb Downs. You're starting to see Matt Patricia move number 2 around as he gets more comfortable calling plays defensively here for Ohio State. He said he could be creative with him because the knowledge of the game is elite for Caleb Downs, number 2. And Sark knows he's got to understand where Downs is at all times.
Texas 1 of 5 on third down conversions. They need 10 here. Manning stepping up, and he's taken down behind the line of scrimmage. Arvell Reese. Goon Squad.
I'll tell you, this is a great little move right here. Watch Arvell Reese. He's going to turn his eyes out here as if he's going to drop in coverage, and then he goes on the stunt or the delay blitz right there from his linebacker position. That's a little nuance, Gus. I'm telling you, that's an NFL nuance right there from Matt Patricia, teaching his linebackers how to get the attention of the offensive line away from them.
Bo Meester ready to send it away. And this one will be down deep inside Ohio State territory at the 1, a 52-yard punt. Arvell Reese and the Ohio State defense playing lights out football to start. Here's our Good Hands moment, sponsored by Allstate, celebrating 20 years of the Allstate Good Hands Nets program. Last year's CFP semifinal game down to 2 big plays. Travion Henderson's 75-yard touchdown at the end of the first half. And I tell you what, folks, Jack Sawyer's 83-yard fumble return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. That was like watching a movie.
It was, and he's here today. Jack Sawyer watching his Buckeyes. You're exactly right, Gus. That's a great call. It was like a movie. You know what I love? I was talking with JT Tuimoloau, his defensive end mate on the other side. You know what Jack asked at the end of the play?
What?
JT, did I look fast?
Yes, you did, Jack. First down and 10, and Ohio State running it. Let's go downstairs and check in with JT.
Well, speaking of those two, when Ohio State's D-line came off the field, it wasn't D-line coach Larry Johnson to address the group first. He actually allowed Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau to have the first word. JT telling the guys they can't handle us. We need to slow them down. No let up here. As Joel mentioned, JT's been pacing. He said, it is so hard for me to not be a part of this game, but I'm doing my best to coach these guys up.
All right, Jenny, I ran into a basketball coach last night. A high school basketball coach. He said his team played against Jack Sawyer, and Sawyer had 33 and 15 boards. He could really play the game of basketball as well. Athlete, second down and 7 at the 5. And that'll be a 4-yard pickup for Peoples.
Well, this becomes a really big down right here, because for Texas, if you can get off the field and you can get a stop here, you're going to get the ball around the 50-yard line. You know, maybe plus of the 50, maybe just in your side of the field. But a defensive stop here would go a long way in creating momentum for the offense on the next series. Pete Kwiatkowski knows that, the defensive coordinator. I would expect him to really load up, maybe put some pressure on Julian Sayin here, and certainly play an aggressive style of defense trying to force this punt.
3rd down and 3 at the 9. Peoples, the lone setback. Play fake. Sayin in the end zone. Throws it. Caught on the sideline. That's Carnell Tate. And a first down. Tough throw for Sayin, but he got it there.
That was a great throw, but I think the catch was better because the coverage was all over Carnell Tate. And this is a guy we've loved for a long time, and he needs to have a big year and a big game. And right here, he comes back to the football and keeps working back to his quarterback. And he goes up and he attacks the football, gets that foot in bounds for a first down. That's a big play. The tight ends actually hit each other. Sayin looks out there for an easy short completion. Nobody there. And watch Ryan Day looking at Carnell Tate. He says, yep, it's down. First down.
First down and 10 of the 18 now for the Bucks with some breathing room. Here's a handoff. Peoples trying to get outside. Nothing. Tell you what, remember we've been working together for, this is our 11th year.
Yeah.
And I've been doing Texas football for 15 years. Remember when they used to win games 52-50?
Yes, I do. Back those Big 12 years, man, we would do like the Red River shootout, and it was a shootout.
Shootout.
I still call it shootout. Okay, you can call it rivalry. I call it shootout. Whatever. Defense was optional back in the Big 12. Now, these are elite defenses that we're seeing play.
Chicago, yes, they are. Texas under Coach Sarkisian. 2nd and 10 at the 18. Here comes a blitz. Sayin stands in the pocket, dumps it down, incomplete. His tight end was not ready for that one, Max Clare.
Some miscommunication there. Clare looked like he was out there trying to throw a block, and Sayin had that pressure in his face and had to get rid of the football. And now another big 3rd down here We'll see if Texas can get off the field. They could establish some good field position. Maybe not quite as good as I was talking about earlier, but still good getting into this 2-minute timeout.
Sands done a really nice job of managing the game so far.
Yeah, that's one of the things Will Howard, their quarterback last year, told me about saying is he felt like from a decision-making perspective, he was going to be just fine. He's very careful with the football and knows where to go with it.
3rd down and 10 of the 18. Julian Sayin with time underneath, caught, not enough for 1st down. Jeremiah Smith with the reception, a gain of 5. And that will take us to the 2-minute timeout. 2 minutes to go. Buckeyes on top of the Longhorns, 7-0. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast.
We welcome you back to Columbus. Low-scoring affair, 7-0 Buckeyes. Rob Stone here with you on the field. Coming up on the State Farm at halftime, we'll highlight the frustrations, early on at least, of the nation's #1 player, Jeremiah Smith. Number 24, Tennessee, off to a strong start against Syracuse, and Maryland may have found their quarterback for the future in the form of a true freshman. Guys, we'll have all that coming up at the half. And Gus, I don't know what it is, but something about you looks really good today, man.
Folks, I left my shirt in L.A., so I had to borrow one of Rob Stone's shirt. I feel very close to him today. Holy Chicago.
He did it. He said it right there.
He said it.
Right on the tees.
Uh-huh. Oh. And this will punt it out of bounds. So in the meantime, now it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Get help with expenses health insurance does not cover with Aflac. Who was the last preseason Heisman favorite to win the award?
Matt Leinart.
You think so?
Yeah.
You know that?
I know that, yeah.
You're not supposed to say it.
Well,
you're supposed to let people guess.
Well, I just...
Oh, come on.
We're in the no fun zone, Gus.
My gosh.
What are we doing?
Oh, man.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Look at this handsome guy right there.
He didn't have a beard back then.
That's right. He didn't.
We ran into his son at the seminar. Looks just like him. He's already committed as a junior to SMU. Matt Leinart's son. First down and 10 at the 47. Here's Manning. Underneath. That one thrown high. Incomplete.
Well, you think back to the success that Texas had or didn't have against this defense in that national semifinal a year ago, and that was their last game. They studied that game all off season. The thing that really hurt Ohio State in that game offensively for Texas was throwing to the running backs to the short side of the field. So that would be to their right now. I wonder if here in a big drive they'll go to that side of the field.
Second down and 10 at the 47. Baxter in the backfield. They give it to him. He jitterbugs and crosses the line of scrimmage. Stopped by Arvell Reese. A gain of 2.
I tell you what, it's been a pretty conservative game plan for Texas, hasn't it?
Yes.
Matt Patricia calling the plays defensively for
with that
Ohio
signature
State.
Pencil in his ear.
That's right.
Matt Patricia.
The aeronautical engineer.
How about that? He's got a master's in math. Third down and 8 at the 49. Arch Manning under pressure. Takes his time. Shovels it off. Not enough for a first down. C.J. Baxter. Gain of 6. And I'd love the coverage for Ohio State in the secondary.
I tell you, they're going to keep their offense on the field right here and bleed a little bit of clock. This is one of the, if I was Ryan Day, I would think about a timeout right here because you could save some time if you're able to stop them on fourth down.
So here we go, fourth down and 2. And a timeout by Ohio State. They've got one left. Texas was with all 3. Seven to nothing, Ohio State. 43 seconds left. First half, fourth down and 3. At the 46 for Texas. And now a timeout by UT. Are you fan enough? Sponsored by Dr. Pepper. It's a Pepper thing. Now Texas, they will not go for it. They've decided to punt it away. Bouwmeester is getting a lot of work here in this first half. Ennis back deep. Over to the sideline. Lets it take a bounce. And bounces out of bounds inside the Ohio State 5 with 35 seconds to go. A 43-yard punt.
Tell you, that's two really good punts from Bouwmeester, who transferred in from Utah. Now we've seen him backed up last two offensive series for Ohio State after they got a little bit of a rhythm, right? They score that touchdown, but now back-to-back series starting inside your 5. That takes all of that rhythm away. And now with only one timeout in 35 seconds, you're probably going to call a screen pass. And now every Texas fan just pulled out their hair, because the last time we were in a situation just like this, right before the half in the semifinal, Ohio State just ran a kind of a nondescript screen pass to TreVeyon Henderson, and he took it the distance right there. Some sort of safe play call, a dump off to the tight end. There's TreVeyon Henderson on the sideline talking with JT Tuimoloau. But you're probably going to get some sort of play like that. Maybe a straight run, see if you can pop it. But certainly not going to be too aggressive right here with the young quarterback in the lead 7-0.
So tight formation. Looks like Sayin may take a knee. And he basically does. And the Buckeyes will let this clock wind down and head into the locker room with a 7-0 lead over Texas. It wasn't what we thought it would be the first half.
I'll tell you, these defenses have played really great. The young quarterback Sayin has found a rhythm. Arch Manning has not. Arch and that Texas offense totally stymied in this first half by the defense of the Buckeyes, and they're going to have to go regroup and find out what they're going to change in order to get something going in this second half.
All right, don't forget, after the break, join Rob Stone and the boys with the State Farm halftime show right here from the Shoe. 7-0. World famous on top of the Longhorns.
We welcome you to the State Farm College Football Halftime Show. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The West Virginia.
Will Stone will send it off. James Peoples, the deep man. And Brandon Ennis as well. Fair caught. Let's go downstairs to Jenny Taft.
Well, Gus, the first thing I asked Coach Day going into the locker room was how he's feeling about his quarterback, Julian Sayin, the rhythm he was able to find in the first half. He actually said, I really liked his composure, especially considering we did have a couple of those drops early. Well, speaking of those drops, a few from Jeremiah Smith, something we're not used to. I asked Day, are you planning to talk to Jeremiah Smith? Any words? He said simply, no, he is good. Now, as for the defense, a great start for the Buckeyes. He said we need to continue to stop the run. He also anticipates seeing a bit more from the run game with Arch Manning. It's something they will be ready for, but a great start for the Buckeyes getting the ball in the second half.
All right, Jenny, thank you. 1st and 10 of the 25 for Julian Sayin, who managed the game extremely well in the first half. No costly mistakes. Underneath, throws a strike, and it's caught by Jeremiah Smith.
It's a good way to start getting him the ball. And remember, this Texas team held Jeremiah Smith to 1 catch for 3 yards in that semifinal matchup a year ago. And talking with Ryan Day the entire offseason, he was like, that won't happen again. And you can see the concerted effort they've gone to get number 4 the ball and his touches. That's now 7 targets. He's got a couple of drops, yes, but he's got completions, and they also got that holding call on 2nd down against Smith.
2nd and 4. Here's the run game now. Peoples. But just think about some of the things Jeremiah Smith, Joel, did as a freshman. He was the Big Ten's receiver of the year and freshman of the year. He broke the Buckeyes freshman records for catches, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and receiving yards in a single game. And he's a baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 true freshmen. I said this last year. There's only 2 true freshmen that I've ever felt could play at whatever level of football possible when they were 18 years old, and that was Adrian Peterson and Jeremiah Smith. And
yes,
he proved that with a monster year production-wise a year ago.
3rd down and 4 at the 31. Sayin looking, sideline, incomplete, broken up. Nice defense this time by Texas. Malik Muhammad steps in redirects the football, and the Buckeyes will have to punt.
Yeah, good coverage by Malik Muhammad right here, and he's going to be physical. Remember, he got the holding call earlier in that first half, and right there they get a little away with a little bit of contact, and Smith's trying to get back to the ball, and you can hear the fans react to that, but no flag, and the Buckeyes will have to punt it away.
First 3 and out of the game for Ohio State. Ryan Niblett ready to return it. Joe McGuire will send it away, standing at his own 16. McGuire, end over end. Niblett to the sideline, lets it take a bounce and fields it. And it'll go down close to the 30-yard line. A 42-yard punt and a 2-yard return. And a flag has been thrown.
The third #1 team shut out in the first half since 2014. You look at those games, Texas and Georgia, LSU and Alabama. I mean, obviously monster matchups there. I didn't quite see what the flag was. I think it was incidental, Gus. Maybe just fell out of the pocket of the official. So I didn't hear a call either. The flag was on the field, but they play on here.
So a first down and 10 for Arch Manning at the 29. Let's see what kind of adjustments Texas has made during the halftime period. And this is Wisner. Quintravion Wisner. They call him Trey, but his mom, Angie, says, no, my boy's name is Quintravion.
Well, Quintravion is the SEC's leading returning rusher, and certainly a really quality player.
On second down and 4, Wisner picks up the first down.
So I thought the first half was very un-Sark characteristic. You know, like, he normally has a lot of motion and a lot of things to put pressure on the eyes of the defense and side-to-side type movement. And now you're starting to see a little tempo here. They're going to go fast.
First down at the 41.
But Gus, I would expect more tempo. I would expect more motion and movement pre-snap. And then again, get Arch on the outside and get him some easy completions like they just tried to do right there. And that one was thrown low. Arch is just not in rhythm, even when he's dropping back, nowhere to go with the football. I haven't seen him one time yet today throw a pass in rhythm and get a completion.
Loss of 3, second and 13 at the 38. Young man trying to figure this thing out against the reigning national champions. On the road, Manning scrambles, turns it up, squares his shoulders, look at the feet, and gets out of bounds with a first down. Now, everybody talks about Archie, his granddad, his Uncle Peyton, his Uncle Eli. His father was a receiver, but the true talent for this young man comes from his mom, Ellen.
And especially the athleticism and the elusiveness. Right there, right? He steps away from the defender and then again steps away from Igbinosun. What a great run to pick up the first down. It looked like a couple of Buckeyes had a chance at him, and he's still able to get a first down.
First down and 10 at the 47 after the 14-yard gain. And they'll hand it off. Wisner gets to the edge, squares, and powers his way forward close to the first down in front of Igbinosun.
Yeah, good series. And as Tom Rinaldi told us, Sark was going to focus on first down, and now they've gotten a couple of quality first down plays. When you get second and short, this is the time to take a shot right here. Get a big play action and take a shot over the top.
Second and 1 at the 38. And they'll hand it off looking for that first down. Wisner leaning and gets it. Let's go downstairs to Tom Rinaldi.
Well, Gus, you mentioned it. The pedigree speaks for itself with Peyton, Eli, and Archie. But when we spoke to Arch this week, he said, please give my mom, Ellen, some love. Track and field, volleyball, and soccer star back in New Orleans. The all-district selection is a high jumper. She's in her high school's Hall of Fame in its inaugural class. She'll be very happy if you say that on air, Arch told us with a laugh. There you go, Arch.
That's right. That's Ellen's baby out there. First down and 10 at the 36. And the handoff, Baxter. It's so interesting, Joel. I called Peyton's games when he was at Tennessee. I remember as a sideline reporter interviewing his dad, Archie. I called Peyton and Eli's games when they were in the pros. And now, look at this.
There you go. Now you got Arch, and he's just trying to build a career for himself.
That's right. Here's Manning underneath. Ooh. Sonny Styles comes up and makes the hit on C.J. Baxter.
This is what Ohio State was going to be nervous about, though. They did. One of the questions surrounding this team was the depth at defensive line, and now in a long series, you're starting to see this defensive line wear out. Wouldn't be surprised if Texas is just able to run for this right here.
3rd down and 2 at the 28. The handoff to Baxter breaks it back, another 1st down. I remember last year going into the Michigan game in week 2 for Texas, Sark said the strategy would be throw the ball to the sidelines, tire the defensive line out, and then run it right at them when they're gassed.
Yeah, you remember those 2 great defensive tackles that Michigan had, obviously, and
Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham.
And that worked out for Sark and Texas, and they played a great game. Now, the first half did not go how Texas imagined it going here today, but they're starting to find a rhythm here offensively on this series.
First series of the second half at the 20. And a slingshot to the sideline. Caught by Moore. He's close to another 1st down. Igbinosun with the tackle after a 9-yard gain.
Yeah, more of that if I was a Texas fan. Again, a little play fake from Arch, and then he's on the edge. And Gus, he's already shown the elusiveness, so the defense has to respect his legs, and he can still dump the ball off on the outside.
2nd and 1 at the 11. Manning, play fake, looking, guns it, sideline, caught. This time it's Dalen McCutcheon, and he'll pick up a 1st down.
Yep, nice 1st down there. Arch just surveying that boundary side, the short side of the field, and he comes down to McCutcheon. McCutcheon is able to get the completion, and McCutcheon is a guy that they're very high on. Polished receiver, just a true freshman, getting a chance to play here in the big house, or excuse me, in the shoe against the defending. Yep,
don't say that.
A slip of the tongue there. In the shoe against the defending national champion, and nice 1st down.
1st down and goal at the 9. Wisner in the backfield with Manning. Arch straight ahead with Wiggle, and he'll get inside the Ohio State 5 as he gains 5. Arvell Reese with the tackle.
Can't wait to see the game plan here from Sark, because last year's Ohio State team was as good as we've seen in a long time inside the 5-yard line and goal line situations. And it's one of the reasons why Texas threw that toss sweep, if you remember, famously inside of the 5-yard line of the national semifinal that pushed them all the way back right before Jack Sawyer took it to the house the other direction.
2nd down and goal at the 4. Manning runs it, looking. It'll gain about a yard.
Well, on these crucial type of plays, there's an injured Buckeye on the ground here at the bottom of that pile. Hard to tell who that is down there.
In the meantime, we'll take a quick break. Back in a moment. 7:21 to go here in the 3rd quarter. 14th play of the drive coming up for Texas, that started at their own 29, trailing 7-0. 3rd down and goal at the 3. Can the Longhorns punch this one in? Wingo in motion. They'll hand it off. Baxter cuts it back, trying to power forward, got close, and he'll be down. Looks like at the 1-inch line, gains about 2 yards on the play.
Man, this is just like a carbon copy of last year, right? Ohio State's so good inside the 5, and Texas will go for it here. 4th down.
Manning, looks like they're going to do the tush push, and they don't get in. Ohio State does it again. Nebraska, Penn State last year. And right now, Texas. Defense. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Discover. It pays to discover. On their way to winning the national championship last season, Ohio State's defense would bend but not break. Having several goal line stands throughout the year, they were able to stuff Oregon, Nebraska, Penn State, and even Texas in the college football playoff semifinals. And just a moment ago,
man, what great push right there from the interior. And Texas has got to be just beside themselves. Steve Sarkisian knows they ended their season basically inside the 5 against Ohio State. They had first and goal from the 1 and couldn't punch it in. And right here from inside the 1, they can't get in the end zone.
So Ohio State takes over at their own 1-yard line. Donaldson deep in the backfield and saying, and just try to give him a little breathing room.
I'll tell you what, what's so difficult, the goal of this series is just to get a first down and then maybe a second to try to help the field position. 2 first downs. That's the goal of the series. That's what you tell your young quarterback. But even within that, if you can't get a first down, you've got to get the ball away from the goal line. Because if you're punting the football with just, 11, 12 yards behind the snap, it's got to be such a quick kick, a one-step-in kick, that generally speaking, that punt only gets out to about the 40-yard line. You set up the opposition with great field position. So right here, this is an important series for Ohio State trying to get away from their own goal line.
2nd and 9 at the 2. Play fake, saying, scrambling, flag on the play in the end zone.
That's going to be a safety. If that's on the offense, that's going to be a safety. It's either going to be that or another hands to the face from Texas. I think they could probably call either. You got the linebacker Lafau. He comes in number 18 in the middle of the line of scrimmage. And Gus, he's going against the offensive line. His hands are up.
2 fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Holding on the offense, number 75. Personal foul, hands to the face, number 18 on the defense. Those penalties offset. Replay, 2nd down.
I tell you what, that's David Smith, our official. This is our SEC officials today. I think that's a great job officiating this play. It's a tough look because you don't see Lafau right there. His hands were initially up in the face of Hinsman. And Hinsman then, after he gets the hands in the face, he holds on. So watch right there. Okay, so see, there's the hand that you're seeing right there. Hand in the face. That's what's called originally. Then there's the hold. That's really good officiating from this crew.
So 2nd and 9 at the 2. Again. Saying. Hands it off straight ahead. No room, no gain. For Donaldson, Ethan Burke there defensively.
Now the situation I just explained, Gus, about that room for your punter. Now it's not even really about the first down. You'd love to move the chains, there's no doubt. But you've got to get this ball away from the goal line if you're Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, because a short punt, it's called a quick kick, a short punt is going to set Texas up with beautiful field position, and certainly something that Pete Kwiatkowski is thinking about. He's the defensive coordinator for Texas. Probably looking at an aggressive look here from their defense.
3rd down and 9 at the 2. Saying, hands it off again. This time they'll get a little breathing room as C.J. Donaldson will pick up 6.
That time they tried to spread the formation out. You saw all those wide receivers wide and then bringing a tight end back in motion just to try to get some space for that interior run, and they were able to pick up some yardage and get some room.
So Joe McGuire about 8 yards deep in his own end zone. Ryan Niblett standing inside Ohio State territory at the 44. Niblett to the sideline. Takes a bounce and out of bounds around the 45, 46. A 45-yard punt. Well done by McGuire. Coming up, Texas with very solid field position. Under 4 to play in the 3rd.
The first game is a monster. I know Buckeye Nation is fired up, but we need the shoe rocking. It's got to be the loudest it's ever been.
Are you fan enough? Sponsored by Dr. Pepper. It's a Pepper thing. Yes, this place has been rocking. And Buckeye Nation is fired up. But Texas has found a rhythm here in the second half. The last time they had it, 15 plays, 70 yards, 7 minutes, no points. Flag on the play.
Holding on the offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, first down.
DJ Campbell, the right guard.
And he's the experienced guy up front. He's the one that has started a bunch of football games for them, trying to perfect his craft. He's a former 5-star. Here's number 52, and he's going up, and he's just going to see Peyton Pierce and give him a big old hug. It's like it's Christmas right there on the second level. Hey, man.
How you doing?
How you doing?
First down and 15 at the 45. They'll run it with Wisner. And he's gang tackled. Do you think Sark could just start letting him throw it?
Well, I think they've tried. This secondary has won the battle on the outside. There's nowhere to throw it deep. They've tried to throw it deep one time. It was double covered. You've got the best defender in college football back there, Caleb Downs. You don't want to just blindly throw the ball over the middle. And so I think Ohio State has largely taken that away, Gus.
Play fake. Manning, he'll throw it this time. Oh, it's intercepted. Matthews Jr. The first turnover of the game. And I think you were right, partner.
Well, there's a reason they haven't been doing this. The coverage has been excellent. Matthews basically runs the route for him. Wingo tries to go back to the sideline. The shoe comes alive as Jermaine Matthews picks it off. A turnover, and the Buckeyes are on offense when we come back.
The NFL regular season kicks off on Fox September 7th as the Giants take on reigning offensive rookie of the year Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, or the Niners take on the Seahawks, or other regional action. The NFL is back September 7th on Fox. 7-0, Ohio State leads Texas with 3:01 to play in the third. First down and 10 after the interception at the 32-yard line for the Buckeyes. Play fake, Sayin sets. And this one is caught by Ennis, who'll pick up 3.
Well, they're going back to that play that they called earlier in the game on 4th down when Smith was wide open, but that was double covered like they have been doing most snaps. This is the coverage during the course of the game. You see 2 and 3 guys looking up Smith, running with him, eyes on him as they drop into coverage. They're trying to focus on where's number 4. You see the eyes go to number 4. So how do you beat it? You motion outside, get those guys spread out, and then just run a little dump route over the middle of the field. That's how they've been trying to get Smith the ball in more creative ways because of the coverage.
2nd and 7 at the 35. Donaldson. And he's ridden down after gain of 3.
And as that defense continues to play well, now what you start thinking about is trying to get them a little bit of a rest. You know, before that pick, the last series that defense was out there was 15 plays. And where do you go on 3rd down? Well, it's been a big Smith target game, and obviously you would anticipate that. The other guys have not really played a factor. I would expect Carnell Tate in the second half to have a big catch, Gus, sometime. Maybe Max Clare, but one of those guys, because of the double coverage on Smith, they're going to have to win their one-on-one matchup.
3rd down and 4 at the 38. Sayin. First down, yes, for Ohio State. It's Jeremiah Smith. Ran a great route, caught it in stride, and he'll gain 7 on 3rd and 4.
He's so physical at the top of his route. Watch, he's going to be working against Malik Muhammad right here, and it's a slow release and then just hands right there. Maybe gets away a little push off, but creates space for himself. How easy is that for Julian Sayin? Big, wide open passing window, and you're throwing to the best wide receiver in the sport. That is just a pitch and a catch for a first down.
Smith, 5 catches, 40 yards. First down at the 45. Sayin goes through his progressions, checks it down to Donaldson. He gets his shoulder square and out of bounds about a yard and a half short of the first.
Yeah, I think this is a big deal, is getting a catch from a back early, because remember Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins last year. They were the two backs for Ohio State. They're now in the NFL. They caught the ball exceptionally well. So these young guys that are having to come in, or the transfer C.J. Donaldson, they've got to fill that production and get those catches. Donaldson at West Virginia, Gus, was an H-back style tight end at times and a running back. So he's got that background where he knows how to catch the football. He's been a receiver before, and they certainly took advantage there on the last play.
32 catches in his career and 1 touchdown for Donaldson. And that takes us to the end of the third. Coming up, the fourth quarter, our score, Ohio State 7, Texas nothing. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by AT&T Business. Connecting changes everything. So, start of the fourth quarter, Ohio State up 7-0. Last time Texas was scoreless through 3 quarters. It was a 23-0 loss to Kansas State in 2014.
You know, I know that Ohio State would love to punch it in the end zone on a series like this, and it's been quality so far, but it's also important to try to get a 2-possession lead. You know, right now they're probably about 17 yards away from Fielding's range, Gus, and so that's in the back of your mind as well.
2nd down and 1 at the 46, and a first down for the Buckeyes. Donaldson. And Mark Ingram talked about it during the pregame, Joel. Whoever controls the running game, whoever wins the running game, will win this game.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, you know, if you look at the stat sheet, Texas has actually run the ball better. They're running for about 4 yards per carry, 119 yards on the ground, and Ohio State more methodical, 25 carries, 63 yards, 2.5 per carry. But it seems like when they need the crucial yard or two on short yardage situations, Ohio State has been able to get it.
First down at the 43. Another handoff, Donaldson. Nice forward lean, but there is a flag.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 or more players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now, I'm actually pretty shocked that that's our first, what I would call kind of like first game style penalty, you know, mechanic style penalty that we've had all game. It's actually been fairly clean. That's their first penalty on Ohio State. Again, this is an SEC crew here, so if you're wondering like what conference is officiating today, it's an SEC crew led by David Smith. That's the first flag on Ohio State.
Very disciplined performance by the Buckeyes. 1st and 15. Donaldson again following his blocks. And Donaldson. This time he picks up 8.
Yeah, great blocking here up front. You know, they're again going to pull some guys around. You got tight ends coming around. And then Donaldson is just going to try to get patient and be right behind those guys. Cibola, the right tackle. You've also got Will Kazmarek, a really nice block. They've said that they think he's probably the best blocking tight end in the country. Granted, that's probably some bias coming from his own coaches, but Kazmarek is a guy they really trust in that run game as a blocker from the tight end position.
2nd and 7 at the 40. Saying, looking, goes deep, saying, Tate! Touchdown! Tater! Carnell Tate, 40 yards.
This is a great route. He's able to get behind the defense, and Jalen Guilbeau is just trying to catch up. Ball's a little underthrown. How about the double catch? Guilbeau gets there, bats that ball away initially, and Tate's got to catch it a second time, and he's able to haul it into the end zone. I said he was going to make a crucial play or a crucial target in the fourth quarter. They go to him early in this fourth quarter, and he's able to pay it off for a touchdown.
One of the most impressive young men in college football. The things that he's endured in his young life already. He's got a 3.5 grade point average in the sports industry major. He's already in the real estate, making deals, and he's scoring TDs. And his coach said he gonna play on Sunday. Big News Saturday is sponsored by Pacific Life, building confident futures for nearly 160 years.
The Pacific Life game summary sponsored by Pacific Life, building confident futures for nearly 160 years. Well, the story here, a big fourth down stop from the Ohio State defense. Arch Manning trying to sneak it in. They turn him away, and then a huge turnover here. Jermaine Matthews picks it off. The corner steps in front of the Arch Manning pass, and on the ensuing possession, Julian Sayin finds Carnell Tate. Big throw down the left side. 40 yards later, Ohio State up 14-0 here in the fourth quarter over the #1 ranked Texas Longhorns.
So that was the longest play of the game for either team. Carnell Tate with that 40-yard touchdown. And Texas brings it out of the end zone. Wisner, he jitterbugs and gets to the 15. Good special teams coverage by the Bucks.
Well, Texas has got to find something right now. I mean, shut out through 3 quarters. The offense is sputtering. You can tell Arch Manning who normally doesn't show any emotion. I think he was a little flustered and forced that ball down the field. It gets picked off by Jermaine Matthews. What do they turn to here if they're Steve Sarkisian? I would imagine that you're going to get some quick passing game out on the outside. Allow a guy like Ryan Wingo to operate.
First down and 10 at their own 15. Here's a handoff. Wisner, and let's check in with Jenny.
Quick update for the Buckeyes. Defensive end Kenyatta Jackson has been ruled out for the rest of the game. He was walking on his own, but of course clear disappointment on his face. But on the positive, Gus, watching Julian Sayin come off the field after that huge touchdown to Tate, the big smile, Will Howard there to greet him, smiles all around.
Thank you, Jenny. 2nd down and 4, another running play. Texas close to the first down. But how about Sayin? That was his 2nd career touchdown pass. His first was to Bennett Christian against Western Michigan last year. And Carnell Tate, he loves playing against Texas. Had a career-high 7 catches for 87 yards in last year's semis. First down now for the Longhorns as Wisner gets out of bounds.
Yeah, good run by Wisner. There was nothing there in the middle, and he was able to bounce it all the way out to his right side. Shows you some of that speed. And he gets out of bounds, and that'll create another first down and a little momentum and a little rhythm here for the Texas offense. They're doing it all on the ground right now. This is just not a lot of motion, not a lot of creativity, which you would normally see from Sark. Just a lot of straight run game.
13-yard gain. First down from the 37. Manning. Another check down. Out wide. Baxter. And it'll pop forward. Dropped by Lorenzo Styles Jr. How about Lorenzo Styles Jr.? He got his degree in April, and his father, Lorenzo Styles Sr., came back and got his degree in April as well. So both Lorenzo Sr. and Lorenzo Jr. graduated at the same time.
Yeah, very cool. And gets to play with his brother, Sonny, who's the linebacker, 1 level in front of him.
2nd and 5. Nice blocking by Texas. Manning gets it away and completes it.
Tell you, this is a great block in the backfield by C.J. Baxter, because Sonny Styles, who I just mentioned, he's making a beeline right up the middle of the field. He's right here. He's going to come right for Arch Manning, and watch this block from C.J. Baxter. He gets confused, goes out right. That allows the time for Manning to get the ball out to the outside, and really their best pitch and catch of the day.
Parker Livingstone with the reception. He'll pick up 15 yards. 1st and 10 at the 43. Manning sets, guns, underneath, intercepted. Sonny Styles. My father and brother got a degree. I got a pick. And it looks like Jermaine Matthews may have deflected that football.
That was Matthews. He steps in front. Stiles trying to keep that one off the turf. I'm sure they'll take a look at this one. But as of right now, Buckeyes think they've got a pick.
I don't know. Mike Pereira, he's coming up next. (14-0), Ohio State leading Texas. So there's a ruling on the field. Interception. But the ruling is being looked at.
After video review, the pass is incomplete. The defender did not have control of the ball.
Let's go to Mike Pereira in Los Angeles. Michael.
And he makes the right decision, Gus. I mean, the ball's actually between his arms. He doesn't have it firmly in his hands. And you're going to get a couple shots and see it. Now watch the ball between his arms, not in the hands. And then it's going to go through to the ground here and then pop actually when it hits the ground. But he really used the ground to try to complete the catch. And that's the right decision in replay to reverse this.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's a terrific job by replay. Matthew McConaughey on the sideline thinking, all right, we got a second chance.
Thank you, Mike. 2nd down and 10 at the 43. Longhorns dodge a bullet. Now Manning under center. Here's the reverse. Wingo with a seam and a hurdle. Upended on the play by Jermaine Matthews.
Now that looks different. You see that speed right there and the burst and the explosiveness. You just kind of hold your breath when Wingo touches the ball. He needs to touch it more here in the 4th quarter.
They'll hand it off straight ahead after the 8-yard gain and pick up a 1st down with Wisner.
If you're going to take a shot, it has to be to number 1, Wingo, because he can get over the top of the defense. I think in those specialty plays, you start looking at those little reverses like we just saw, or getting the wide receivers involved in the screen game. They've got some speed with the young players as well. But the creativity and the motion and movement needs to start to come out from this Sark offense. They've been way too static.
1st down at the 30. Play fake. Manning dumps it down. He finds his tight end. Injuries. And he'll pick up big-time yardage. 1st down and more. 14-yard gain.
There we go. Now we're starting to get into Sark being a play caller here, creating the momentum for his team. A reverse, a screen pass, getting some formations going, movement in the motion game in order to confuse the defense. And you can see him working on that play sheet here, and we'll see what else he can dial up as they get inside the red zone.
1st down and 10 at the 16-yard line for Texas. They've been close. Manning, straight ahead run. Trying to fight forward, and does. 4-yard gain.
That series, Sonny Stiles had not been in the game. I believe he was in the 10th on the sidelines being looked at after that review, and now back into the game, the captain of this defense in there with the block O.
2nd down and 6 at the 12. Wisner on the cutback, gets inside the 10 for 3. Will Smith with the tackle.
You got 2-possession game, 8:30 left. This is 4-down territory here, so Sark's got to be thinking to himself, he's got 2 play calls. You can still keep it on the ground. Remember last year, Arch was their specialty short yardage quarterback. We'll see if they get 16 either out of the pocket or involved in the run game here.
3rd down and 3 at the 9. Wisner, the lone setback. Motions. Manning looks underneath and incomplete. Wingo. That ball had a little too much hot sauce on it, and it was low.
Well, now where do you go? Day looking at his defense, trying to get another 4th down stop. They've already done it here in this game. The opposite goal line on 4th and goal. Here, 4th and 3.
From the 9, 4th down. Longhorns need 3. And a timeout called by Ohio State. We'll take a break. 4th and 3 coming up. 8:02 to go in the 4th. Texas threatening. Actually, we'll stay here, folks.
All right, so now you got a 4th down. You get over there and you start thinking about what has been successful today if you're Texas. And conversely, Matt Patricia for Ohio State, the new defensive coordinator, comes from the NFL. What does he dial up in a specialty situation like this? You looked at the film over the course of last year where Texas had the most success against Ohio State, and that's actually continued into today, even on this series, is getting the ball into the short side of the field. That would be to their left, whether it's a screen over there, run the football in that direction, getting a tight end open on the left side, or you can get that right-handed quarterback, Gus, on the move to the right side, get him out of the pocket. He can run it, he can throw it, give him the choice.
Texas 1 for 3 on 4th down conversions today. 4th down and 3 at the 9. Manning in the end zone. Incomplete. He had a receiver, Parker Livingstone, just couldn't hold on. Great coverage by Davis and Igbenusum.
Just out of reach of Livingstone. Igbenusum came back. Matt Patricia put him in coverage one-on-one, and the winner goes to the Buckeyes on that 4th down. (14-0) Ohio State over the #1 ranked Texas Longhorns. Just under 8 minutes left. This is Cosm in Arlington, Texas. It was sold out. Cosm is an immersive viewing experience. You can go, you can take all these extra cameras. You can see it's almost like IMAX theater where you get to go and experience the game from field level, almost as if you're in a movie theater. So Arlington, Texas, we see you. Shout out to you guys. Sold out down there, although I'm sure that there's a lot of unhappy spectators in Arlington, Texas right now watching this one with their team down 14-0.
Not over yet. Ohio State running the football. That was pretty cool. Have you been to one of those?
I'm sorry?
The Cosms? Have you been
I have not. I've been intending to. My boys, I got 13, 11, and 8-year-old boys, and they've been wanting to go to a game, but unfortunately for me, I can't take them to a college football game. Obviously, we're working, so I'm going to do it for Major League Baseball. Again, you can go to all sorts of different events and watch these games that are televised and any sport at these
Henry's
Cosm
13 now, eh?
Henry's 13. He's going to the 8th grade.
I knew him when he was 3.
I know.
No, 2.
Two.
Unbelievable. 2nd and 5 at the 14. Sayin hands it off. Donaldson power running. Looks like he's got a 1st down.
Well, this is one of those series that it's all in the hands of the offensive line, #1, and then #2 in the decision-making of your quarterback. You know, you might take a shot at some point if you feel like the defense is creeping way up towards the line of scrimmage, but this is a drive that is all up front. These 5 guys, a rebuilt offensive line. Philip Daniels, the right tackle, transfers in from Minnesota. These 3 guys in the middle, Luke Montgomery, Carson Hinsman, Tegra Shabola, they all got a lot of playing time late last year through that playoff run. And then the captain, Austin Sareveld, over at right tackle. They're trying to bleed as much clock as they can on the ground, getting as many 1st downs as they can.
1st down and 10 at the 20. Another handoff, another run. What would it mean for this Ohio State program, flag on the play, if they were able to shut out this Texas Longhorns team?
You know, I think that the shutout would maybe be like just an icing, as we'll get the announcement here from David Smith. But I think if you were to ask Ryan, he just wants to win the game.
51 on the offense. 10-yard penalty for
That's
the
a holding on the
spot.
left guard, Luke
Play,
Montgomery. You know, I don't think he cares, you know, what it looks like or how they do it or who gets the credit or, you know, what stats are accumulated or not accumulated. If they win it, you know, 32-31 or 14-0, doesn't matter to him. I think he would just say, we just want to go out there and get the W. But to answer your question more specifically, for us, in this world of we pontificate, we think about college football, we talk about college football, this would make Ohio State the clear #1 team in the country if they're able to close the next 6 minutes out.
First down and 20 at the 10. Julian Sayin. What a solid performance by this young man. Low snap, scoops it up, gets it away. This time it's Peoples fighting, and he'll get across the line of scrimmage and gain a yard. Clock continues to run. 5:40 and counting. Don't forget tonight, if you're up late, it's Saturday. You're allowed. Utah, UCLA, old school Pac-12 football game.
Well, let's call it mid-school, because old school would be like Mountain West Pac-12 or even different than that. But this is WAC Pac-10 game. I can't wait to watch Nico Iamaleava, transfers from Tennessee, now the new quarterback at UCLA. And quietly, we've done these games for a long time, Gus. Kyle Whittingham, when you don't hear a lot about Utah,
that's when they play well.
Normally, they're pretty good.
Second down and 19 at the 12. Sayin. Jeremiah Smith probably would have liked to stay in bounds on that play. Gain of 3. Clock continuing to run. 4:50 and counting.
Well, now they're just managing with these play calls, because what you would not want to do is put Julian Sayin in a position where he's got a middle of the field read. And Coach touched on this in the pregame. You don't have a young quarterback throw the ball over the middle of the field early in a game because they're amped up, and any ball that sails over the head of a wide receiver has a chance to be turned over. So this ball's not going over the middle of the field, certainly. It might just be another run play, and Ryan Day might rely on his defense here.
Third down and 15. And it is another run play. Not a lot, as Donaldson gets to the 20. That brings up fourth down. Texas calls a timeout. 2 remaining for the Longhorns. 4:15 to go in the fourth quarter. (14-0) Ohio State. Arch Manning coming back on the field. He's 12 of 21 today. 72 yards, no touchdown, and 1 interception. His longest pass, 15 yards. Now Joe McGuire in the punt from the 5. Neblett back deep at the 44. McGuire gets it away. Neblett at the 40 with the fair catch.
Well, here's a look at our reliable performer, sponsored by AT&T Business. Reliability you can count on, and it's been the Buckeye defense. Giving up only 233 yards to this Texas offense. A lot of us thought this offense was going to come in very high-powered with Arch Manning at quarterback. Texas 1 of 4 on fourth downs, one of those inside the 1-yard line. They did get that takeaway, the big Jermaine Matthews interception. Igbinosun has been incredible on the outside. 10 tackles, a huge pass breakup on a fourth down. The secondary has been excellent, led by number 2, Caleb Downs. Haven't called his name a lot, but Gus, I think that's because Texas was so aware of where he was lining up. A lot of their play designs have gone away from number 2.
First down at the 40-yard line for Manning. Underneath, and a whistle. DeAndre Moore. Ohio State got a timeout before the ball was snapped.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Yeah, they were misaligned right there and got a very late timeout. Matt Patricia, the new coordinator. And they've got a few new pieces and a lot of new faces. There was only 3 returning starters from last year's group. Last year's group was so veteran, Gus. Remember these guys? All those guys up front, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Lathan Ransom at safety. These guys played a lot of football.
Can the defensive coordinator call a timeout? Is that allowed by most coaches?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think that they only had 10 on the field. Because they had nobody over that slot receiver who ended up getting the football.
Right, wide open.
Wide open. And if you're a defensive coordinator and you're like, whoa, there's a huge hole in our defense. And they very quickly got a timeout.
And Matt Patricia's arrival was slightly controversial with who he replaced, as Jim Knowles left after winning the national championship and went to Ohio State's rival, Penn State, as their DC. Manning down the slot, and it's caught. It's Wingo. Big reception, 29 yards.
Beautiful throw. That was the best throw of the day by far, and he was in rhythm. You notice he just hitched up right away and threw it right down the seam.
First down, Manning again to the sideline, and Wisner gets out of bounds.
Only a 2-score game. There's plenty of time here with 2 timeouts left. Got to get a quick score here. Got to work quickly, obviously, but still plenty of time.
2nd and 5 of the 27. Manning tried to put that one in a shoebox and incomplete.
Well, now you start to think about Manning having to force the football a little bit down the field. He can't be too careful with it, but you can't be careless with the football either. And then where's Steve Sarkisian come into play here, trying to design something for one of his skill position players to get them the right matchup or in the right area for a big play.
3rd down and 5 of the 27. And some movement again on the right side of that offensive line. It might have been Baker again.
Ball start, 73 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's their 3rd false start today. Crowd has been electric. They've been on their feet. It has been loud. Here the right tackle, 73, Brandon Baker. There's that rock back in his stance, and they'll back up 5 yards.
3rd down and 10 at the 32. Obviously 4-down territory for the Longhorns. Arch Manning guns it. Touchdown, Texas! Livingstone! And the Longhorns are on the board. 32 yards.
What a battle at the end of this play. Jermaine Matthews is going to be in coverage man-to-man against Parker Livingstone, and they said he had a great camp, a terrific worker, and he continues to work on this route and just finish the play right at the end, getting some separation, getting back to the ball around Jermaine Matthews Jr. and getting the touchdown. What a quick strike from Texas, and right back in this ball game.
So Texas still with life. 3:28 to go, 4th quarter. Trying to make this a 7-point game. Longhorns with 2 timeouts left. Ohio State with 1.
This is not a guy that during the summer, I was doing a lot of prep for, is this Parker Livingstone, but as we take another look, they're trying to confirm this in replay and just make sure he had control before that ball.
Looks like he had it.
I think he does. That right hand looks like it's on, although there was a little shift in that ball. I think they're going to take a further look at this. So remember, let's go back to the other review. It has to have control, and then the ground can't help you make the catch. And I think that's going to be tough to overturn, but I can certainly see why they're making another look. That's kind of in his forearm. They might overturn that.
Mike Pereira, Mikey Rulebooks, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we're looking at it in here also. Listen, he has firm control when he gets to the ground. The one thing is, when he turns over, the ball shifts to the other hand. So there is some movement there, and I'm not going to be too surprised if they do overturn this. Is it enough to overturn this? That's what they have to look at.
I'll tell you, Mike, what's interesting is that first hand he's got control with is his right hand, but as he rolls over, the hand comes off the ball, and then it's under the forearm and wrist. That's going to be really, I know it's ticky-tack, but
it's so ticky-tack.
I know.
It's so ticky-tack.
It really should be a catch. But letter of the law, they might turn this. I just want to remind everybody, you're wondering who's officiating this game. I've said it several times, just so you know. It is an SEC crew and SEC replay. So this is being looked at back in Birmingham, and Arch is trying to help those guys back in Birmingham. Like, come on, guys, it's a catch. That's a tough look. The ball definitely gets to the wrist, Gus, and that's a technicality. and just a giant play because they needed that fast score in a 2-possession game.
Here he comes.
After video review, the ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
All right, not enough. I kind of like it as well. I mean, listen, it's a great move by Livingstone. He's able to secure that ball, hold on to it through the end of the catch, and it's a touchdown for the Longhorns. What a strike, too, from Arch. Couple of good throws on that series. Down the seam to Wingo. He gets Wingo down the seam, and then right down that right side, he's able to find Parker Livingstone.
Mason Shipley comes in to attempt the extra point. And he got it. 7-point game, folks. Here we go. 3:28 to go in the fourth. Arch Manning starting to find himself. 14-7 Buckeyes. (14-7) Ohio State leads Texas. Arch Manning leading the Longhorns down the field in about 42 seconds. A 4-play drive that covered 60 yards.
And now, I mean, all the time in the world. 1-possession game, 14-7. Wondered for a moment, you know, there's that new theory in football about down 2 scores, 14, you know, going for 2 there. Sark decides to kick the extra point, and now all the pressure is going to be on Ohio State and that offensive line to try to close this thing out.
And ball fair caught by Carnell Tate.
So there's three stoppages ahead for Texas. If you're looking at that, they've got the 2 timeouts, Gus. They've also got that 2-minute timeout that'll happen in a minute 28. And this offensive line in this run game, and like I said, it hasn't been great. 30 rushes for 89 yards, 3 yards a carry. They're going to be asked to try to close this thing out and bleed this clock out. If and when the opportunity arises, the guy that'll be trying to make a crucial throw is a man making his very first start for the Buckeyes, Julian Sayin.
From the 25, first down. Ohio State. Donaldson. Nothing.
They're trying to get big. 3 tight ends in the game. Only wide receiver is Jeremiah Smith out there on the edge.
Texas with 2 timeouts. The 2-minute timeout coming as well.
Sayin needs to hold his guys at the line of scrimmage here, not snap this ball until he gets inside of 5 seconds on the play clock. Empty backfield.
That's what he does. Sayin to throw it. Looking. Sayin scrambling. And he'll just dump it. Wise decision for Julian Sayin, but the clock stops with 2:39 to go in the fourth.
Man,
3rd down and 10. This is a big one for both teams.
It really is, and that is a tough one. You would rather see him just run right there rather than just throw an incompletion that allows Texas to keep their second timeout. Now there's still 3 stoppages ahead. And again, it's tough. There's a million things going through that young quarterback's mind right there, but not throwing an incompletion is one of them, and just running up and trying to dive, even if you don't get any yards. And now Arch Manning's going to have plenty of time if they're able to get off the field here on 3rd down.
Big one. 3rd down and 10 at the 25. Can Ohio State stay on the field? Sayin under pressure, underneath, caught, but not enough for the first. Brandon Ennis. And what a tackle by Grayson Littleton, the freshman from Tampa.
Boy, as advertised, number 29, right? Coaches raving in our meetings about Grayson Littleton, and a big tackle right there in a crucial moment on a 3rd down. And Texas will take one of their timeouts with 2:33 left. They'll still have one in their pocket because of that incompletion, Gus, that Ohio State gave them. That's a free timeout for Texas. The young quarterback making a mistake there. Should have run that football.
So Arch Manning will get one more shot at it. Joe McGuire solid in the punting game today for Ohio State. Back deep, Ryan Niblett. McGuire punting from the 15. Niblett at the 34. Line drive kick. Lost it in the sun, out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Another fine kick by McGuire. 55 yards.
Well, partner, how is this for drama? Arch Manning, the kid that's been in the spotlight since he was 14. We've all been waiting for this, to see it. It hasn't gone great today. Nice series on the last series, but here he is taking the field against the defending national champions in his first start on the road.
There's Dad Cooper, our colleague at Fox Sports, watching his son. First down and 10 at the 15. Manning throws it up. Incomplete. Wingo, the target, and he was open, but Manning had pressure.
He had him open. Pocket was collapsing a little bit, but that ball just sailing ever so slightly over Wingo's head. And this pass rush, although it was closing, there was a lot of time there for Manning in the pocket. And if Ohio State wants to get a stop here, I think they're going to have to try to affect his timing a little bit more. I would not be surprised to see them start to ratchet up a blitz or a pressure.
Second down and 10 of the 15. Manning again to the sideline. Big throw, caught! Woo! At the 45. Jack Endries, a gain of 30. Now that is a pro throw.
Beautiful throw just over the outstretched arm of the corner, and as Lorenzo Styles is coming in to try to jar that ball loose, terrific catch by Endries.
First down at the 45, and that takes us to the 2-minute timeout. 14-7 our score. Ohio State with the lead, but Texas still with a fighting chance. Big Noon Saturday is sponsored by Bud Light. If you drink, don't drive. Decide to ride. 14-7 in what has been mostly a defensive game. Things starting to get fired up right now with Arch Manning completing that last 30-yard pass.
Yeah, and I tell you, that was a beautiful ball, and they're starting to find their way in this passing game, running through the seams, whether it's down the hashes or on the sideline. Not the in-breaking routes or crossing routes, but just right down the seam.
First down at the 45. Here's a run, and it's Wisner. He's dragged down from behind by C.J. Hicks.
And again, a real lack of pressure so far. Manning has been able to sit back into the pocket, start to attack down the field.
Manning again after the 5-yard gain to the sideline. That one low and incomplete. Near the first down marker for Endries. Third down and 5. 4-down territory.
You got 2 in your pocket, so if you're the quarterback, you don't want to force the football. And then a great option here, in particular if you start running through the seams, is the quarterback's legs.
Third down and 5 at midfield. Texas with the timeout left. Trips at the top of your screen. Endries, the tight end, at the bottom. Wisner in motion. Manning, sidearm, up top, incomplete. Wow. Wingo, and he had some real estate in front of him, but that ball thrown slightly behind him. That makes it 4th down and 5.
He had all sorts of room in front of him. This ball has got to be thrown out in front of him. Tough catch for Wingo to try to go back over the right shoulder. Down's the only player out there, and he was a safety just trying to recover. Big mistake, and now a 4th down.
They've got to convert this. 4th and 5. Manning In trouble. Got it away. Caught, but not enough for the first. And Ohio State bends, but once again does not break. C.J. Hicks with pressure.
How about Hicks with the pressure, unblocked from the offense's right side. Here's Hicks, here he is. He's just going to come straight right through this right side, and the tackle never gets out there. Watch 11. He's right in the face of Manning, and Manning shows you some serious strength to get that ball out in the first place, but he gets it out. Indries makes the catch. It's short, and the Buckeyes come up with another 4th down stop. I tell you, what a game. That was a heck of an effort from that defense. Time and time again, they were asked to answer the bell, stop the Texas Longhorns on 4th down, and time again, they came up with the stop when they needed it most.
Saying, in victory formation, you'll take a knee.
Gus, it comes down to inches. It can come down to a snap here or there, and you think back in this game, a one-possession game, 4th and goal for each team. The Buckeyes convert. Donaldson over the left side, and they're able to get into the end zone. 4th and goal, Manning stuffed. There you go. The game. Texas, another defeat in a big game inside the 5-yard line. The last time they played, Steve Sarkisian saw his team have 1st and goal from the 1. They were unable to punch it in against Ohio State. And again here today, 4th down, 1 yard, unable to punch it in.
Saying, buying time, and they'll just fall down. Texas out of timeouts. And the Buckeyes are a little over a minute away from defeating the #1 team in the nation. And potentially becoming the #1 team in the nation.
Yeah, I would think so too. You know, there's a little time here. But as soon as this game clock hits 40, they can snap it. Don't need to drag off any other time. There we go. Now just a knee, and that's your ball game.
That's it. A defensive gem. But in the end, the national champions prevail. 14-7. Ohio State defeats Texas. What a ball game. It wasn't the game we expected, but nevertheless, it turned out to be a gem.
I tell you, these defenses played well. Both of them, man. Both of them played great.
Let's go downstairs to Jenny.
Coach Day.